What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Blaise over here at the Blue Chip Athletic Club podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 habits that I think can totally reinvent your health and wellness. Today is April the 24th. Thanks for sticking with us for a solo podcast here. As we kind of roll out into the first little bit, or I guess end of spring and then beginning of summer here, starting to kind of come around the corner. So for those of you guys that are new here, welcome. Thanks for coming on and listening to me talk. I want to talk about 3 big habits that are going to really help shape and morph your health and wellness that I frequently implement in my own health practice, as well as other people's that we're coaching here at Blue Chip. So first things first, shout out to our sponsors, people that work with us. Our First Form, you guys have been great utilizing your green supplements, anything that you kind of need. They're a one-stop shop. Their greens I take every single day, I never miss, along with the collagen powder. I'm a new coffee drinker as of a couple years ago. I used to kind of stand on the fact that I was never going to drink coffee, and then I got a little bit older and realized, like, hey, maybe my pre-workout of something like kind of synthetic was not going to be quite as beneficial to my body overall and over time as something that's kind of natural and comes from the earth. So I made the switch from pre-workouts of any kind truly to drinking coffee all the time, and their chocolate greens are honestly the best. I put them in there. I use a little French vanilla collagen powder, and presto, you've got 18 grams of protein in the morning, all your pre-probiotics, and it's not even breakfast time, and you're able to kind of hammer it out. So I love them. They don't taste like grass, and they're truly excellent. So check them out. If you guys want a free sample, hit us up. We'll send it to directly to your door, no questions asked, and then you can test it out and see what you like yourself. Sweet Perfections protein cookies. Hannah does a great job over there making some awesome cookies. Log 10, the pilot logbook, the only one that I will use from here for forever, integrates with a bunch of various systems. Flight Schedule Pro is part of their kind of package as well. Any major airline will use something that synchronizes super easily with Log 10, which is becoming pilot base. Really excited to see what those guys continue to do to build different mastermind community, my entrepreneur community that I truly love and cherish. People just kind of building each other up, learning new ways to effectively grow business. It's been great as well. And then Dash Track, the website building company that I have utilized over the last, they've been running my website for 3-4 years at this point. But super awesome team over there at Dash Track, and we're excited to start to push out some more tools and features with their website programs as well. Automations, SEO optimization, kind of all those things. So without further ado, let's get into our 3 habits. So what are some things that can be really helpful for you? And I think I'll boil them down to 3 simple, effective means that kind of are tried and true, and maybe even get a little bit drowned out just because of the state of health and wellness in 2026. So state of health and wellness in 2026, headlines are peptides, headlines are Ozempic, headlines are cold plunging and saunas and red light therapy and all these things. And I think, if we could boil down health and kind of block out all the noise of the biohacking and all those other things, I think we can kind of get to 3 simple and effective tools to kind of get you where you want to be and help improve over time. And the first one is going to be strength training. Strength training is incredibly important. The reason strength training is important is because lean muscle mass is a huge indicator of health over time. So somebody who has more lean muscle mass has a lower morbidity rate as they age. So you're literally fighting father time actively if you have more lean muscle mass. And if you're somebody who has less lean muscle mass, you are losing the fight quickly. And truly, it doesn't take a Herculean effort. If you're able to work out, 3 times a week, 30 minutes a crack for all 52 weeks out of the year, it's enough. You're not going to look like Arnold. You're not going to look like Rambo, but you will be able to retain that healthy body and lifestyle long into your later years, and is going to prevent you from being, in a wheelchair, stuck. And for those of you that have heard me talk on this podcast, I've got a goal of dancing at my 80th birthday is one. And I recently just added a second, which is to never be picked last in sports. And for me, the lean muscle mass is so critical in making sure that I kind of reach those, continue to perform at a high level for as long as possible, because eventually you are going to lose the fight to Father Time. And we're all going to be, in that same trench at some point. So, how do you do that? How do you fight that? Well, you strength train, you lift weights, you challenge yourself in that way, and you continue to do it forever, because it is, unfortunately, it's rent is due every day, or 3 times a week. And when you start to fall off in doing that, that's when the things like osteoporosis come in. That's when your metabolism slows down. That's when life kind of punches you in the mouth. And obviously everybody's dealing with different things and has different things that they're carrying. And I'm not saying that that's not real. Maybe you've got kids, maybe you got a job that has you on the road a ton. Maybe you struggle to find the motivation to get into the gym. All these things are real. But if you're able to kind of tie your directly your quality of life to this specific habit of getting in there and making something happen, it's really, really effective. Now, if you don't know what to do, if you walk into a gym and you're like, man, I want to be in here for 30 minutes because I have X, Y, or Z goal, and I don't know what to do, please, please, please reach out to us. You can even, you don't even need to reach out to us. You can go on to ChatGPT. You can say, hey, I want a 30-minute workout of simple patterns. I have access to dumbbells and bands and this, and I want you to build me a workout for this date. Now, I'll tell you, it'll do a pretty good job. There's a lot of people that I know, I'm not going to name names, that are in this space that are using AI to build their entire workout plans with absolutely zero additional thought. It probably will do a pretty good job. Thing that you're missing, though, is you're probably missing some community. You're probably missing a bit of accountability. And the reason that it has not worked for most people in the past is because the year 2026 is not a year where information is the problem. It's action being the problem. It's pushing yourself. It's getting in there. It's doing instead of analyzing. And that's really the true difference. And action, when, targeted and done properly, you're able to find that it's not really as hard as it sounds and as you've kind of made it out to be. But the key is to just take a step. Maybe on the first day, that's you putting your gym shoes on and you never even get out the door. Maybe the second day you put them on and you take 10 steps out the door towards the car. The third day you get in your car. The fourth day you're driving over there and you're sitting in the parking lot. The fifth day, maybe you walk in. The sixth day, you walk on the treadmill for 2 minutes and then you go home. But eventually you'll get in there. Hopefully you're not spending, 24 hours in the gym at some point as you're building up your program. But getting in there, you're getting in for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. You build some community, you find a friend, you go lift together, which is super helpful. You have an online community, maybe something like ours, maybe something elsewhere, but you're able to find some true success in that. So 3x52 is the general standard. Lift weights, strength train, challenge yourself, keep your lean muscle mass, and then improve your quality of life for as long as possible, because again, Father Time's coming. And he's not gonna stop, man. Unfortunately, is the truth. Habit number 2. What's the second habit that you can make happen? And it is as simple as protein, produce, and water. Wash, rinse, repeat. I think this is a really, really simple thing that we inherently all kind of know about nutrition, right? So if you walk into a grocery store, at least in the US, most grocery stores are laid out to where the healthy food, i.e. the stuff that is protein, produce, and water, is around the outside of the grocery store, right? Like inherently, If you're spending about 80% of your time around the outside, in the produce section, grabbing some, meats, maybe you're grabbing like milk or eggs or whatever, typically all around the outside, all the stuff that's in the middle of the grocery store, i.e. it comes in a box, comes in a bag. Most of those things are more processed or ultra processed. And if you can avoid those and start to reduce the amount that you eat those, you're going to be better off. So, how do we boil it down? Protein, produce, and water, wash, rinse, repeat. And it truly is that simple. And, it's simple in practice, or it's simple in theory, but it's very complex in practice. So what are some things that you can do when you're at home, when you're like, oh man, all I'm doing is I'm craving chocolate, or I really would like this bag of chips? Well, there's really simple and effective tools that you can utilize, such as, building barriers for entry for things that you want to minimize in your life, i.e. like a bag of chips, and then making it more accessible for something that you want to eat more of, i.e. maybe fruit, maybe it's other, healthy snacks. Maybe you're like, oh, I want to kick candy and start to eat a date because it's sweet, but also it's more natural. So I'm able to kind of like still satisfy my sweet tooth, but also still enjoy kind of eating something else. So how do you do that? I've said this example a ton of times. You can take a bag of chips and you can put it in a cabinet that's near your feet. That's in the corner. You got to get down on all fours and you got to crawl around to get to it. That would make it harder to get to. It would make it harder for you to eat. And by default, you would eat less of it over time. But, conversely, if you're like, oh, hey, I put that bag of chips at eye level, and the second I come home every single day, I open the cabinet and I see them. Well, that means that you're setting yourself up to fail, in my opinion. You're making it harder. This is like putting the beer in front of the alcoholic, like it's like you're making yourself more susceptible for a more difficult discussion. It's like eating dinner with your cell phone on the table versus having it in another room. Like you're setting your environment up for success. So what can you do instead? Put that bag of chips down low. Make it so it's hard to find. Then what else can you do? Oh, I want to start eating more fruit. I want another apple. I want to have more lean proteins with meals, or, however that kind of looks. Well, when you do that, you could start to set those things out in a very accessible location. Healthier snacks. Maybe you decide, hey, I'm going to plan the meals out for my family for the week. And again, this is something that you can use AI for. You could use our app for it as well. It has an awesome grocery planning tool. But this is like, hey, it takes a little bit of forethought, but it's really not as much as you think. 5, 10, 15 minutes. Go in there and you can be like, oh, hey, I want to have braised short ribs one day, and then I want to do white chicken chili, which we're actually having in the next couple of days. I'm pretty excited about. Maybe you're doing, heroes one day, or whatever your meal of choice becomes. Plan that out, and then you go shop, and then you're just buying the things that you need to make your plan a reality. You're going to have a lot more success over time. Sticking to your protein, produce, and water, wash, rinse, repeat, do it over and over again. And you'll see eventually you'll probably stop wanting the things that you used to want more and more. So I don't necessarily crave a soda anymore. I haven't had true soda in a really long time. We've got like Olippops that are hanging around here. That's something that I'm like, oh yeah, but straight up chocolate, those types of things, like I don't necessarily crave. My body is more responsive to, hey, I want to have an apple. I want, fruits and veggies or whatever for a snack. And I truly think, like, as you can kind of make those micro adjustments over time by just shifting your environment to eat more of the protein, produce, and water, it can really help you too. All right, that was 2. Number 3, setting up your rest sleep environment for success. This is something that's really challenging. Everybody's got to sleep, right? If I told you, hey, you can not work out for a week, how does your body look on day 1 versus day 7? You probably would not even notice if I didn't work out for a week. Let's be honest. Like it's probably true. If you said, hey, Blaise, you're not going to sleep for a week from day 1 to day 7, you would definitely visibly notice that I didn't sleep. You would notice for sure in a conversation with me. You would for sure notice in my mood. You also would probably notice in my energy levels. My body would start to just like be like, what the hell is going on? And, brain fog, all the cognitive abilities, all these things start to be truly, truly important for your body to function properly. So sleep is something that I feel like is not addressed quite as much as it could be, to help you kind of build more ideal sleep patterns, sleep habits, sleep hygiene, so you can then continue to have success. Now, I don't talk about it enough, and I probably should, but I completed a sleep stress and recovery course and learned a lot about sleep stress and recovery in general. I don't know if I would necessarily call myself a certified sleep coach, but I guess kind of with the certification, I could be that. Um, excuse me. But at the end of the day, there's a couple of things that I think really, really start to help that are simple when it comes to setting up your environment for success. And we'll just focus on the sleep environment because we could get on a rabbit hole and talk for hours about it. But think about like where you go to sleep and how that space feels. Does that space induce some amount of anxiousness, or is it more calming? How are your lights? Are they really, really bright? Do you have like nice, cool tones? How do those look? Is your room organized? Is it not? Did you decide to add a TV to your bedroom? This is something that I'll say, I've not had a TV in my bedroom for probably 6 or 7 years now. And the reason actually, well, at least initially, is because I had no plugs in my house. And my house in California had like very minimal outlets. There wasn't a good place to put one in my bedroom. I'm like, oh, screw it. I just won't have one. Well, I found that when I did that and I removed the TV from my bedroom, I watched less TV in bed. It helped my brain throughout the next couple of years to kind of delineate like, hey, when I go into this space, this fixed point in my home is for rest. So I find that I used to, I wouldn't say struggle to fall asleep, but I would take longer to fall asleep. And now when I go in and start to sleep, lay down and start my bedtime routine, which adults have bedtime routines as well. It just doesn't look quite the same as the kids. My time to fall asleep is much, much quicker. Now, how can you do that yourself? You can pull your TV out of your room if you're interested in doing that. You can minimize the light that you have in there, blackout curtains. I mean, there's hundreds of different things that you can do, but really think about, is this space setting me up to be, at a calm, or setting me up to be nice and calm? Is it inducing some amount of stress? Is it not? Why is that the case? And then you can kind of take that and you can be like, hey, this is how I want to make an improvement. And maybe it's something as simple as changing a light bulb. And maybe you could set your clothes out the night before, and then it's not something that you're stressed about thinking about doing, in the morning before you go out to work. There's a bunch of different ways that you can do it. Try and analyze your own sleep environment and think about ways that you can make an improvement. I found, and a quick aside here that is pretty related, I find that for myself, reading is really helpful for me. I've got a really busy brain, especially at nighttime and in the morning, I'll say too. But I find that if I read fiction at night, it kind of takes me out of my own body, out of my own head, out of what I have to do for the business or for flying in the Coast Guard or for X, Y, or Z. And then I can put myself into some other reality. And then in that other reality, it's way easier for me to shut it down. It's like, oh, I'm reading about whatever this thing is. And now by the time, 15 minutes pass or whatever, I'm like, yep, I'm good, dude. I don't need to listen to this anymore. I don't need to read this anymore. I can now shift into my sleep mode and check into that. And then I'm out kind of like a light. So I found that works really well for me. And then in the morning, I'll typically try and read some nonfiction, because for me, that really like helps get me motivated, helps get me up, helps get me moving on the day. So just some small tips there for you guys. I wanted to leave them off with you. Those are 3 habits that you can take into your health and wellness: strength train, protein, produce, and water, setting up your sleep environment for success so that you guys can continue to look, move, and feel your best. That's all I got for you guys. I want to wrap this up here because we have date night tonight at the house. And I do not want to get in trouble before that. So remember, you don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.